Oh shit, look who's on time today. It's me. Ew, I don't like that one. I don't like that sound. Hey, you dirtbags! Welcome to your weekly distraction.
That's how I'm gonna kiss your ear
Still.
when I first meet you.
Ugh. Anyways, it's Bass and Brews. Happy Friday, Wednesday, Sunday. I don't give a shit what time you're listening to it, as long as you're listening to it. So this is the first episode in September. So all of you slackers missed out on those OG prices for the Patreon. It's really not that much more, but that is now officially locked. I think you guys can still see the tier on the patreon.com/Bass and Brews. But that's locked now for OG producers of the show. But if you guys like the show and what we're doing, go check out patreon.com/Bass and Brews. I believe by the time this airs, we are going to have our first Win Paul's Shit contest. And if you guys don't know, once a month during Last Call with Alex and Paul, the Patreon exclusive live show, we are going to run now I'm not supposed to call it a giveaway, I found out, because Mr. Beast is getting sued for saying giveaway, so I have to call it something else, and I don't know what that is, so we're just going to call it Win Paul's Shit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly pick a Patreon member. We're going to do it live on that Last Call show, and you are going to get some of those sweet, sweet 6 cents fishing crankbaits that I promised Paul last year. And I'm going to send them to you instead, and then I'll also, get your address, and Paul can send you some other shit from his garage. But also, the only way to get access to that show, obviously, is through Patreon. And then we got some merch things going up, and all Patreon members not only have first crack at the merch, but also in help deciding kind of how we're going to do it. So I think that's all the housekeeping. Paul Siv, what's up?
Hey, man, it's just another day in the life. Bass and Brews podcast, a weekly distraction from quality podcast content. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be talking some fishing tonight. A little bit of fishing, a little bit of dumb chittery, the regular stuff.
It's Bass and Brews.
But probably a lot of fishing, because tonight we got, as I'll call him, Mr. Century. And I have tried to come up with a better nickname, one that rolled off the tongue a little bit better. I can't, because this asshole is literally Mr. Century. And I say he's an asshole. He's not. He's a sweet little short red-headed day-walking fella. And he's my buddy, and him and I get on the phone and we talk fishing all the time. But he's local to us. He's down here in the Raleigh area. He's a kayak angler. He fishes our local trails, but he like, even when I have a good day, he has a better day all the time. And I call him Mr. Century because I'm going to read out some stats real quick. Not completely, but just give y'all a clue into why I call him Mr. Century. All right. Starting in 7/15 of 23. This man, hey, oh, there it is. All right. We're going to start on another one. Actually, we're going to start on one. I got a quick story about it. 5/21/22, Jordan Lake. I have an area on Jordan Lake I love to fish. I was going to start there, but I was like, you know what? Only a few people launched here, so I'm going to run to these other couple of spots and check them out. I was checking them out, and I caught like a 17, 18 decent fish, and I look behind me, and somebody rolls up on my spot, and I'm like, son of a bitch. I see him catch 2 fish, and they look decent. We're a couple 100 yards away, a couple football fields away. He sits there all day. I can never get back to it. Ends up, I don't know this fella at the time. He ended up with 102 inches on this spot, and he only caught, I think, 6 or 7 fish. And he said he was getting a bite or 2 every hour. 102 inches, won it. I'm like, damn. I didn't know who he was, didn't talk to him. time passed. We ended up talking. We ended up meeting each other. And
Are you talking about Wyatt Hammond?
No, Wyatt can't get shit. If you want to beat Wyatt Hammond at a fishing tournament, you take your ass to Jordan Lake, because he ain't gonna catch the 100-inch bag on Jordan. Now, if you put his ass on Sharon Harris, except for at least one time in a tournament, he's good there. But look, 7:15:23. All right, 103 inches, 103 and a quarter inches.
Jesus.
9:4:23, 103 inches. 10:7:23, 101 3/4 inches. 6:8:24 this year, 101 and a half inches. 6:5:24, 104 and 25 inches on Randleman Lake in North Carolina, which is a bullshit ass fucking lake. And then 6:29:24. Well, that wasn't him. Doesn't matter. But he also caught damn near 100 inches on a fucking little Sunday nighter with 3 fish. Anyway, we have Will, Mr. Century, Lambert on the podcast with us tonight. And look, guys, he's doing this shit in North Carolina. He's not in Florida. He's not in Texas. He's not in South Georgia or Alabama. This dude is putting 100 inches in. And even when he doesn't put 100 inches in, he's winning a tournament with 99 and 3/4. It's insane.
He's
what
putting
doing.
all the inches in.
All the inches. And I know damn good and well he doesn't know shit about inches when it comes to women. But when it comes to fishing, this man has all the inches. I mean, he's what's his name? Mr. Girth. If you ever watched Mr. Girth on TikTok, he is the Mr. Girth of fishing in North Carolina.
Listen, I think Mr. Sanctuary isn't it. I think it's Big Inch. Is it Big Inch?
I'm going to start calling him Big Inch. Big inches. Big inches.
Big inches.
Yeah, there we go. Mr. Will Big Inches Lambert. Will, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. Glad to be here with y'all for the first time. First time talking to Alex, and unfortunately the 50th time talking to you, Paul.
Yeah, that sucks.
Hey, he's also an avid listener. We'll meet on the boat ramp just out of the blue. Or, I'll call him because I'm always trying to pick his brain. And he brings up shit from the podcast. And y'all know I can't remember a damn thing from the podcast. And he brings up podcasts, so I know he listens. He's a longtime listener. And what is great about this, see, if y'all listen to Bass and Brews Fishing Podcast, you're going to be 100 incher.
You could be on it.
You could.
Oh.
I mean, look, he has somehow taken all the tips and tricks that are shared on this podcast, and somehow he has been able to take that to the water. The rest of you people, I don't know what's wrong with you, because I'm giving all of Will's successes to Bass and Brews.
That might be a thing, because he caught a 100-inch bag in 22. That's really when we started kicking, like really finding our footing.
All right,
when you've had like Russ Snyder and Greg Blanchard on, two perfect guys to learn from there.
Greg Hood. Greg
Blanchard.
No, it's Blanchard, buddy.
Blanchard, whatever.
That's all right.
Hey, take your country ass out of there. That ain't a short-wheeled long A. Blanchard.
And then also, I know you didn't get any info from the Russ Snyder's episode, because all we talked about was big decks. We talked about decks for days. Who has probably the greatest kayak angler, arguably the greatest kayak angler on their show, and you spend more time talking about decks than you do fishing? Bass and Brews does.
Hey, little side note, and Will's going to come on here and we're going to talk fishing, but a little bit of side note. A couple weeks ago, well, there's two side notes. One,
how's the journey?
I started a weight loss, quote unquote, journey, as Alex started calling it. I really started a couple months ago, and I lost about 8 pounds, and then I had a little hiatus. I fucked up a little bit, and I gained a few pounds back. So I will say I've been 3 weeks in on this new journey. I'm losing weight. The goal is 30 pounds by the end of the year.
Okay, where are we at?
And I'm down 10 from my heaviest, and I'm down about 5 from
when
really
you started.
Starting the last 3 weeks.
All right, so 3 weeks.
The first week
5
was
pounds.
Tough. First week was tough, but we're making way. All right. second story of this. When I fish, I love some Copenhagen. That's all I chew. Don't give me heartburn, indigestion, any of that bullshit. Alex has been doing Zen for a long time. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, man, tell me about this Zen. And he tells me about it. I go to get some. And he said, there's a 3 and a 6. I start with a 3. So I said, fuck that. And I started with a 6.
He did. He did say fuck that,
actually.
actually.
It is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. You know, my mouth, I don't have cotton mouth as much and all this and that. But
Right.
tonight I had a few White Claws when I got home because I'm cooking for a wedding this weekend. I've got 70 pounds of whole pork shoulders on my smokers right now. So I had a few before we started. I said to hell with it. I threw in 2 6s, so I got 12%.
He just threw in
I'll
literally right before we started. He threw in 2 upper decker 6 milligram zinnies.
Well, this was before the 2 I just threw in.
Oh, jeez.
And let me tell you, look, I even chewed my Copenhagen on the top lip because that's where it's at.
That's
but anyway,
fine. Yep.
If y'all are chewing tobacco and if you wanna stop, if you wanna change it up, I highly recommend Zen. But if you're a Copenhagen snuff chewer, you might want to go with the 6s and start there.
Yeah. Well, there's bigger ones too. You can get like 12 milligrams. It's called Fire.
Holy
like
shit! I hadn't seen those.
Well, they come in 12, 24, and 48.
Yeah, 48 probably make you drunk. That's crazy.
I think 24 would fuck you up, but
well, if I find some, I might try one on live air. Anyway, back to fishing. We have Will, aka Mr. Century, aka Big Inches, on here tonight. This dude absolutely catches fish, and he does it with live scope, forward facing sonar, and he does it when forward facing sonar ain't working. It's pretty amazing. I mean, I know people are, he don't fish no national tournaments, blah 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 that shit. Look, motherfucker, he's kept 100 inches almost every other tournament the last 2 years down here where we are, and we're not even counting the 99 inches. So we got a true bass fishing asshole on the podcast tonight.
Hey, if you guys aren't watching on YouTube, let me set the scene behind them. We have a lot of guests on, right? And some folks don't think about their background, and that's like my favorite. Some people think about their background, but then fuck it up. I'm talking to you, Coley, where she puts funeral flowers up because she thinks it's going to pretty up the guest room at her parents' house. All love, Coley, all love. But Will, Big Inches here, definitely put some thought. He's got 2 giant checks above his head, and then he's got a whole mantle full of catchboard trophies. Like, they are massive. But I have a quick question before Paul dives into this. What's the red one to your left? The little itty bitty one.
3rd place at Randleman in 2023.
Now, I don't know if it's the camera, but yeah, it's really funny because that one's the shortest of all of them, but it looks almost red, and I figured that would be,
like me.
Look, if y'all need to learn some potato growing tips, you call Will, because he's straight up Irish. He's short, and he has to use SPF 195 when he goes fishing.
Yeah, SPF ginger. It's just butter. It's just that. Just that Kellington yellow butter is what you slap on. That Irish butter.
Hey, if y'all grew up in the 90s, you remember zinc oxide was the big thing in the 90s, and that shit didn't rub in. So when you put it on, it was like white or yellow. I think it were the 2 colors. I think they might have had a blue, but I know white and yellow. This man puts zinc oxide on and still burns.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a never-ending cycle, and I hate sunscreen. Spray, lotion, doesn't matter. So most of the time, I try to wear like the Academy buffs. I already have the face mask and all that. And for the most part, I just let my legs burn.
It's pretty sad when you have a beard and you have to put sunscreen on your beard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think. All right, guys, that's got to be a nightmare.
This is a long ass intro, but we had to set the stage.
It's really not that bad, actually. It's only 14 minutes.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse. It could have been me talking. Oh, never mind. Anyway, Will Big Inches Lambert, tell us about yourself, man. Tell us your journey into getting started fishing and the kayak fishing and all that jazz, and where you're from originally and how that started.
Well, where I'm originally from, Siler City, I live in Staley currently, which is population 400 and a railroad
Hmm.
track, three churches, a fire station, and a little restaurant. You can see from one end to the other of it. But originally from Siler City, and honestly, growing up, like most people say, I went out fishing with dad and this, that, and the third, and really, I didn't have that background. I went out and cane pole fished with my grandpa some, but really didn't get into fishing big time, at least not bass fishing. I used to do some striper fishing at Baden with my uncle when we went to visit over there, but really didn't get into bass fishing until I met a couple buddies, Brooks Lanier, Sammy Wilson, Clay Lanier, and they were big into it. Clay ended up getting or excuse me, Brooks ended up getting a kayak in 2017, and we had just started bass fishing together a little bit, and so then I decided to get into it. And then 2018, I fished my first tournament with Plastic Pirates, which was a small Sunday series here, $20 buy-in,
What a
free
fucking cool
fish.
name. What a fucking cool name.
That is
Plastic
a cool.
Pirates.
I'd never heard of that. That's a badass
It
name.
was
for
Chris
sure.
Ferguson ran it. And it was a good little Sunday series, and we would get maybe 20 guys, 30 guys sometimes, and it was always on Sunday, so it was the day after all the other trails had ran, so you'd keep participation up. And it was a good trail, it was a good intro to bass fishing and specifically tournaments.
It was
Whereas
specifically kayak, right?
right, yeah. We didn't. I mean, at the time, that was where very few people even had motors. But yeah, it was an entry level thing, and so that's where I learned a lot. Starting out, like I guess grassroots bass fishing and learning the basics, and every time, even still today, that I try something new, I end up going right back to those same things that I used to learn, whether it be a spinner bait, shaky head, jig, wacky worm, stuff like that. And so that's how we've progressed here today. It's just become a obsession.
When did you get? So you're in the Old Town now. Alex Clap,
I'm in a
Alex.
native.
Oh,
but I
You
got
never
you
catch me
good.
in Old
I
Town.
got you good. I got you good, Alex.
You didn't
Damn
know
it.
that. You didn't
Will,
know that,
you
Paul.
you ruined it. We needed 2 more seconds of him clapping.
Yeah.
You gotta let me
before
know
you
these
told
things.
him.
I would have clapped. I'd have been like, yeah, fuck you, Paul. Oh, man. Native.
No, I'm not even going to let that get out there, especially if you said I was in a Hobie.
Oh,
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah,
easy now.
exactly.
Easy now. I will drill holes in your shit because you won enough money the last 2 years to buy about 10 natives.
Well, you'd have to drill holes in mine to sink it. It wouldn't be because of cracks like Hobie, so it's okay.
Well, mine don't crack. I ain't got no
Ding.
cracks in it besides my fat ass.
That's a big crack.
When did
I guess that is a testament to Hobie.
what was your first kayak then? You started 2018, right? What was your first kayak? You just got into it. What'd you get into?
I got into a native. Well, actually, I had an Ascend like everybody else that decides that's a great idea.
Piece
Um,
of shit tribe.
I had an Ascend 10T or whatever it was called,
Yep.
and I got that in like August of 2017.
Oh wow.
We ended up going to the Outer Banks and fishing in some of the backwater stuff, and
Hey, fuck that
it wasn't terrible with the current. It was more or less just a little sustained wind and a little bit of current, and it was like paddling your ass off to get up there, make
Yep.
1 or 2 casts, and then you're having to do it all over again. And I was like, no, this is I'm done. If I'm going to get into this, I'm going to get a pedal drive, and that's when Native had first come out with the Native Titan 10.5,
Mhm.
and so I got that to Get Outdoors in Greensboro, and I kept it all the way up until this past December. So I've got 6+ years out of it, and
Wow.
probably 75 plus tournaments and God knows how many days on the water.
That's
Were
insane.
you a good
That's lot.
angler when you first got into the kayak, or did you have to build up to the last couple of years?
I didn't really have much of a clue what I was doing other than my buddies. They were like, here, try this, do this, try this, that, and the third, whatever. And also watching YouTube. And with about anything that I care or do in life, I try to research or try to go 110% into it.
So this is, let's say 2018 areas where you really started getting into it. Who were in 2018? Who are the YouTube people you were really dialing in on?
Lake Fork guy. I just
Okay.
liked his how he was, and that's right before the whole Guggen Squad guys kind of got together. But I really liked Lake Ford guy. I can't remember.
Greg
Shortly
Blanchard.
thereafter, Greg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Greg
definitely Greg.
Blanchard.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just going to Greg B from now on. And then let's see. I guess Tactical Bassin would have been another one.
Shit.
Yep.
Dude, such a good channel. Like, whatever you want to know how to fish, just go see. Hey, Matt here with Tactical Bassin. We're gonna do a 2-hour video on how to fish a Texas rig, and they're like the best videos ever.
Yeah,
They're amazing.
You even have
100%.
have the natural lisp that he has, Alex.
I do. Yeah. If only I was as famous as him. You know what I mean?
As only as you could fish a quarter of
Yeah. No
as
shit.
good as he could,
No
right?
shit. Yeah. Tactical
So
Bassin.
you got your Titan and you started fishing tournaments.
Oh, you went to a Titan? You went from an Ascend 10T to a
Yeah,
Titan?
he just said to a 10.5
Full send.
Titan.
Fucking A, that's full send. That is a beast of a boat.
I used to have a little red Nissan. They didn't even call it. It was what the Frontier became, but it was like a 96 2x4 pickup. They didn't even have the name for it. But I had it on lower blocks, so it was really low to the ground, so it was really easy to load too. And
Hell
then
yeah.
I got a
So
then I got
you
a
and Don
Tacoma.
Trail were the low riders. You and Don
Yeah.
Trail Sullivan. Don
Yeah.
Trail's been on the podcast a couple times. He was on with Jay Basson. Don Trail, y'all are the low riders of kayak bass fishing around here in the Raleigh parts, eh?
Exactly. So then I got a Tacoma, and had a little bit of a height deficiency. Being able to load it is easy. So then I ended up getting a trailer, and that made it a lot easier, especially riding with Brooks to tournaments in 2019. It made it a lot easier when we could just load his Slayer in the back, and then I had my kayak on the water's trailer.
Right. That's funny though, because there is nothing worse than I remember when I finally went from the Ascend to the Old Town, and I car top, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, because the 10T, you can almost like lift that whole thing up yourself. I mean, it's a big stretch as a short guy like I am, but like,
But it was light.
It's not bad.
It was only like
Yeah,
75 pounds, right?
Less than that.
Was it?
So
Less
it's a
than that,
very, yeah. I think it was like 50, if not like, that sounds about right, 50, if not less. But when I first had to load up the, when I went to go pick up my boat, I used my father-in-law's truck because I was like, there's no fucking way that I'm going to look like a goober at the kayak shop picking up this brand new kayak. And the first time, like because what I did is I like brought it home and I wanted to figure out a method of how to like unload and load like quickly before I even took it out of the water so I didn't look like a dingus. And man, it was fucking daunting at first. Like it was, because it was at that point I wasn't in the Subaru yet. I was in a Hyundai I don't know,
Sorrento?
Tucson.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it was a Tucson. So even fucking taller. Oh yeah, the Tuscan. I used to call it the Tuscan, so it makes it sound fancier. And that's like I think taller than the Forester, and it was a bitch to get that thing up there. Anybody who's trying to do that, I'm gonna tell you right now, if anybody's car topping, go out, buy like 2 to 3 bath mats that have the rubber backing. They will save your life because they'll stick to your car, and then you can just slide that bitch up. You're not going to scratch up your car or your kayak, hopefully, unless you're a dingus like me, who at first I bought the ones that didn't have the rubber backing. So the Tuscan, the first time I loaded that thing up, got giant scratches all the way, and it was a black car. So as soon as I went across, it was just like bare metal scratches, and I was like,
hey, that might be one of the greatest gifts we've ever given beginner car topper kayak anglers on this podcast is get the bath mats with the rubber on the bottom. Matter of fact, go take your grandma's bath mats out her house and get her new ones, because those have probably weathered down enough that the glue has seeped through the rubber, and they probably stick a little bit better.
I'm going to go the opposite of you, Paul. What you need to do is just look at your grandma's and then find out where she got them. The bigger and fluffier ones work the best. Like the ones that I have.
The shag ones. The
dude,
ones that never
the ones that I
dry when
have,
you get
it's
out
like
the
a
shower.
3 or 4 inches of shag, and then it's just rubber on the bottom. They work the best. Unfortunately, the only color I could find was that pastel pink. But honestly, I don't give a shit. Like I'm in a Subaru who gives like they're already making fun of me. I don't really care. But yeah, old car toppers, bath mats are the number one accessory for kayak fishing
There
if you
we
car
go.
top.
So
100%. And Brooks was the first person that I knew that had that and on his exploder. So he would, just set it up there and it would protect the back glass and stuff like that. It's perfect.
Yep.
So Will, when did shit? Go ahead, Alex. Take yours on.
No, I just Paul. Do you remember when you used to do the Queen City Chronicles, and you had a gentleman on who was another short king, right? He was another real small guy, and he was talking about how he's car topping his big boat onto his like Geo Metro, basically. I can't remember that guy's name. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I can't remember his name either.
I just remember it was really funny.
That was one of the first Queen City.
He was like, because as he was talking, I was like, "Oh, you got an SUV?" And he's like, "No, small sedan." I was like, "God damn!" In my head, I'm like, "I finally feel tall." This guy was struggling to get it on top of a sedan.
Look, y'all, Alex could get on the shoulders of Will Big Inches Lambert like a chicken fight, and I would still be able to box Alex head on.
Yeah.
We need to do that. When Alex comes down, Will, I'm gonna put a hammock up in the backyard for you to come stay. We're gonna go fishing. We're gonna drink when we get back home, and then you're gonna put Alex on your shoulders, and we're gonna box.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's four.
What I want to know,
yo, Will, we're gonna win because you just hit him in the nuts, and I'll hit him in his fat fucking face. Like we've got.
No. The bottom wheel, his hands are tied behind his back. I cannot be getting nut shots.
I can kick
shots.
Yeah, he can kick. Listen,
you kick out. If you kick, Alex is going to break his neck, and then he's going to get his VA retirement.
Yeah, back up to
that's it. He's not going to have a real job anymore.
I don't think that's going to happen. Just knowing Will, the short time I have, I could tell he's a power bottom. He's generating all that power down there. He's going to be able to kick and hold me, no problem.
Hey, Will, when did shit start clicking for you in fishing in the tournaments? Because we had, I think, one in 2022, but the last 2 years on our local trails is when you've really been crushing it. When did it click? And do you know what clicked for you? Do you know what the catalyst was for that?
I'd say, just time on the water. I spent more time on the water in the last 2-3 years than I did prior to that. This year I've already done 17 tournaments, I think.
Oh, shit.
And then not including how many, like January 1, me and you were at Harris, and that started, just time on the water.
Blair. Drew Blair taught us how to finally catch some fish on a damn blade bait at Harris.
This stupid little itty bitty bait and catching freaking 8-pounders.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess between that and getting live, the biggest thing I had to learn with live was stop staring at the damn screen so much. I think that's where a lot of people don't they screen watch too much. They think that they're just going to chase after a bunch of little fish that are suspended.
All right, I got my hand raised because we're going to talk about forward facing sonar and what you've done with that. But you've also, outside of the 100-inch bags, you've also won tournaments in 2 foot of water. So it's not like you're just out there scoping all your fish. And the reason I like to talk to Will is because Will tell you everything he's doing. He's not a gatekeeper. He doesn't hold back secrets or anything like that. He tells you what he's doing, what he's seeing. One of the greatest things talking to Will is putting tools in my little toolbox. And one of the things that I have found talking to him over the last couple of years is his ability to be like, this shit ain't right. Let me go try something else. And you'll hear it in practicing. I'll talk to him, and he gets to practice a lot more than I do, but I'll talk to him during practice, and he's like, man, I ain't catching shit. Fuck this. I ain't coming. This flake fucking sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, 98 inches, and he wins. And but, he does that shit all the time. What forward facing sonar is going to come later. How do you, what is it? Is it a gut feeling? How the fuck do you make these decisions that put you on fish? And you're catching fish in like the first hour or the last 2 hours. How do you do that? How the fuck do you do that?
It's all situational. just like a gut feeling. I mean, a lot of times this year, I've sat here and thought I need to do this, that, and the third. I do it. It either works or it don't, or I try to rely on something that I learned prior to that, and that
Mhm.
comes from, like I said, just time on the water. And it's I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. I guess it's just more, it becomes instinctual. But
Mm.
at the same time, I've looked at these 50-50 chances and these things that I've thought about whether this will work or not. Most of the time they have this year, which I've been thankful for. Unlike last year, I made a couple bad calls like at Jordan Lake and ended
Yeah,
up
I
with only
beat your
one
ass on
fish.
Jordan Lake last year, you little short fuck.
I
Hell
know
yeah.
one fish cost me one, not catching one 10-inch fish cost me AOI that year. So
Oof.
it's little things like that. But talking about learning things, something I've learned is, finding the thermocline. Say if our thermocline's in 10 foot, finding that first piece of structure that's just up from the thermocline,
Mm.
and fishing that. Like, and that's what live. Granted, I'm not trying to go back into that yet, but it's helped me learn and be able to line up on those things and be super efficient. And I'm able to fish 2, 3 times, 4 times the amount of stuff that I was prior to having it. Because I
Hmm.
like fishing the bottom. I like setting the hook. I don't like cranking. I rarely throw top water unless they're just actively schooling.
Says the man that won a tournament last year, fucking cranking on a rock pile in the last hour and a half of a tournament, you asshole.
Situational. I would
No, no, it's
probably
it's
crank more if I didn't have live to be able to fish how I want to fish
right.
personally.
I mean, it sounds like from the outsider here, it sounds like you just have a knack for it, but some of
Yeah.
that means also you're trusting your instinct, and that does take some time to figure out not to second guess yourself. It takes some time to
Mm-hmm.
like trust what you are feeling, especially as an angler, right? Because it always goes through our heads. Usually it's like 9 million different things. What should I be doing? Do I do this? And it sounds like you're committing and or you're just trusting that gut. And that's fucking awesome. You don't hear that a lot. You hear most anglers are like Paul and myself, who
Yeah.
are like,
I do what I
fuck
do.
this place.
That's
I'm
right.
done. This doesn't work. You're adapting, you're moving through. And you said it was kind of within the last couple of years, more time on the water. Well, that's going to build you more confidence because now you're out there more. I
Right.
mean,
And this isn't me necessarily patting myself on the back, but to a certain extent,
we'll do that.
Pat
I'll
I didn't
pat
ha- I
yourself.
didn't
yourself on the
have
Pat
that.
back.
yourself.
I'll pat
Because
yourself on the butt. I'll
you
give you a
even
little
reach
belly
your
rub.
back?
I'll give you all of it.
Can you even reach your back?
Yeah, I can.
Oh,
He's got
Um,
T-Rex arms.
but I do.
He's touching his shoulder.
But no, I guess it's just I didn't have that, like, years and years prior to getting into
sure.
this addiction. But I feel like I've made up for it a lot,
Mhm.
with how much time I've spent on the water
Yeah.
in the last 6-7 years.
I mean,
So
there's
So
tell
something to be
us.
said about that time on the water will give you
Yeah.
confidence in your own skills and your own decision making. Whether
Yep.
it starts right now, it seems like you've invested in your skills and yourself to be able to make the right decision. I know that doesn't happen right away, but especially 2023, it just looked like you. I mean, you killed it. That's awesome.
And if say if I went from here, it would be a learning curve to go fish a tidal fishery, that
Sure.
has tides coming in. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, just a little bit from saltwater fishing, I could try to apply that same
Yeah.
concept to freshwater bass fishing, but that would be a huge learning curve for me as well.
Yeah, I mean they're all different, and you guys are lucky. You got multiple lakes, and it looks like, again, looking at Big Inches here was not shy. He sent this like Century Club list to us in the group chat to show, but like you're doing it on different bodies of water. It's amazing, man. It's something to be. I mean, so just looking at that, you had, what was it, 3 centuries last year, right? Yeah,
Right. Yeah. I
3
think
centuries
it's 3
last
or
year.
4. Yeah.
And you didn't win AOI? Who won AOI?
Hank Fajon, who was in CCKF.
Yeah.
And he fishes polar opposite to me. Hank likes the creeks, the shallow water, the fishing places that people aren't getting to. And
Gotcha.
the good thing, I guess, with how the battle we had is how polar opposite we fished, but yet it still proved that technology isn't everything. It
Mhm.
puts it back to the skill of the angler in a
How?
lot of
What
ways.
hold on, Paul. How you
Yep.
looking so far this year?
I think I think
Let me answer this.
CCKF. I got
This motherfucker has both local trails locked up.
no, not
No?
CKA, because CKA at Gate City is double points, and there's double point gaps between.
Okay.
So if Justin wins, I have to finish 6th or better.
Okay.
But
But the other one, CCKF, you're locked in.
CCKF, the hat I got on right, he got that shit locked up. I was second until the last tournament. 2 tournaments we've had, I finished like shit, and so I got bumped down to, I don't know, what was it, Will, like
4th.
Well, that's not bad for you, Paul. Oh wait, is there only 4 people on that trail?
Well, two people that would have been up there with us did not put in for fucking AOI, so those assholes aren't up there. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. But in general, he's got locked up. Hey, I want to were you finished answering Alex's question, or do you have something else there? Okay, all right. So we're going to get into the forward-facing sonar because locally with us, obviously that's a big deal everywhere. But anyway, locally with us, there's some people to give you a little bit of shit, and it's all in jest. You know, people giving you shit. Some of them are fishing forward-facing sonar. But how the fuck did that change how you fished? Because it seems like when you learned that and when you got it dialed in, that's when you started being able to make that leap.
The time on the water, learning it, but also I still
time on the water. We got that.
Right,
We talked about that time on the water. So tell us how it changed how you fish.
Fish more off the bank than I used to, and just so much more accurately. I mean, and, you know, I've always liked to fish a shaky head, a jig, like I said, we talked about earlier. But it's made me way more confident in the areas that I'm fishing in, at least knowing that, you know, if I can run 5 stumps instead of 2, I'm more likely to get bit. So it changes. It has changed a little bit. There would probably be more times where I was cranking, just trying to cover water, than maybe target practicing or target fishing, however you want to look at it, with being able to throw it at said stumps instead of, you know, if you're, say, like we were talking earlier, Paul, you know, you see it on side scan, well, then you got to get positioned, then you got to cast, and then it's like, nope, not there, nope, not there, no, oh, there it is. Whereas I've done thrown to 2 more stumps,
Right.
you know, and learning fish behavior, you know, how to change, say if you're fishing a jerk bait and they're not wanting to bite it, well, that's either 2 things: 1, your size; 2, the color. And if they come up and they look at it and then they follow and then they go back down, they didn't want that. Let's change it up. Let's try something else.
Yeah, see, I think that's the biggest thing with forward facing that, like, sometimes people discredit is, like, some people call it a crux, whatever you want to call it, right? But, like, just because you can see the fish, you're not going to be able to catch them. But I do think this is the best way for us to view fish behavior in an environment where you're trying to actively catch them. And the folks that take it that way are the ones being very successful, because they're taking, well, why isn't this? I can see the fish is there. Why isn't, other than just turning it off and being like, oh, like, that fish isn't biting, let me go to another spot, which sometimes happens for sure, right? But, like, being able to be like, all right, let me try to change presentations to see if I can draw them better is that's like next level. Those are the guys who are being successful with this.
Yeah, and one of the things that I see with Will, because him and I like to fish very similarly, so where we
that's
a lot
not
of times,
true, because look at all those trophies, and like you got one.
I said similarly.
You got
And
one.
so
You got one little baby one.
It puts us. I do have a little baby one. It's back there. It's the 3rd place this year. Finished behind him. But anyway, you know, we do get in similar areas. But you think about forward-facing sonar people, right? You think about structure fishing guys, and they sit on one spot a lot. Will isn't that. He's doing exactly what he said earlier. You know, he can target a stump or a brush pile, and he can hit it 2 or 3 times and go to the next one. He does a lot of moving around, which is kind of outside of what a lot of folks think when they think, oh, he's fishing forward-facing sonar, so he's in one spot. Will does do a lot of moving, and that's him and I had a little side chat going on earlier, as we always do. But he talked about efficiency with that, and that's the coolest thing about that is he's so efficient. He's not spending 30 minutes trying to hit a brush pile 3 times. He's hitting it, 3 times out of 5 casts.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
go
sorry, go ahead. No, you're
I
good,
was
Will.
to say that the like fishing the shaky head, for instance, at Gay City Classic last year. Yeah, I'd throw out there with a straight tail, drag it back, whatever. And then a couple times I reeled up and a fish would be following it. And I was like, well, why didn't, so I changed, instead of changing color, I just changed to where it had like a little boot or cut tail, whatever at the end that fluttered because it was in the fall. They're targeting bait fish. That little simple adjustment won me Gate City Classic and the Tournament of Champions.
Wow.
In back-to-back weekends. And it's like little things like that. And that's what's so awesome about it. I think what you see with Bassmaster or MLF or whatever with people just like targeting, I think that's where it gets such the bad rap, I guess.
All right. That's the ticker there. That's what we went back to at the beginning when I asked you what makes you make these little changes and the innate ability to make them. That right there is the forward-facing sonar allowed you to see how the fish was reacting to that bait. And you're like, you know what? They should be eating bait fish right now. Let me throw a little cut tail on the back. Boom, there it is. I could have forward-facing sonar and be fishing that shit until them bitches wouldn't bite all day long and never make a change, but you make the change. That's the difference in really good anglers, and that's the reason why you have so many 100 fucking inch bags and how many tournaments you won. We didn't even talk about the tournaments he won that weren't 100 inches. Are those changes, and to do that shit, that's the key there. That's what separates the really good anglers from the people like me who kind of get lucky, and have a good tournament or two, but. That's the difference, is making those changes. That's the hardest thing for you to explain or to articulate, but that's the shit right there that separates folks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was hard for me to explain that because I guess it's just more instinctual than just being able to point one finger at it exactly what it is.
No, I mean, not trying to like beat a dead horse, but like we talked about before, like you're using it for fish behavior. You made the change. Instead of going, I see fish on a stump, I'm going to throw what I want to throw. Oh, they're not eating. Let's move on to the next one. You're still working. Like a guy in a bass boat or anybody in a bass boat with forward facing, they still have that ability to run and gun, right? They can run and chase. You're still in a kayak. You're still limited somewhat on how much you can run and gun. So instead, you're adapting that technology. But you are still like yourself, like you're using the information that it's giving you to change the technique. You're still trying to catch those fish. Just because they didn't bite that one, you're not stopping at it. Most dudes are going to stop at it and be like, all right, let me go find something else. Waste all this time, especially in a kayak transiting during a tournament, wasting all that time. Instead, you're like, well, let me try this, then this, and then probably move on, right? Or whatever
Holy
it is.
Shit. Did you take your daughter's ADHD medicine today? Because we've got the rug tip, and then you just explained better than Will could ever any day.
Listen,
even at the end of the pot of a gold.
There's no
You just
bourbon
explained
tonight.
the kayak fishing with forward-facing sonar better than Will could ever do it, or anybody that's been on this podcast.
This is
could
what
do
I
it,
do.
Alex.
This is what I do.
I love you right now. I love
this
you.
is what I do. Hey,
Don't
Will,
drop
I've got
your
a
next
question.
drink in your lap.
Yeah, right. Will, all right, I got a question, and I'm glad that you had another, cold dad pop there. So I want us to be. No, don't say sorry. One, you're drinking Founders.
Never
That's like
apologize
drinking
on
water.
this show. You don't apologize on this show.
Founders is like 2.5%. I heard they give out Founders at AA meetings. That's how bad Founders is.
Well, I figured if I had my Juice Force or something like that tonight,
there
I
you
would
go.
make it through the whole pod. So
that would have been perfect.
Be on par with Alex and I.
100, but not tonight. I'm locked in tonight. So here's the question, Will. All right. Wait, hold on. I got, how long ago did you get forward facing?
Beginning of 2022.
Okay. So, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Do you think you'd have the same success that you're having now since having? No, you would not. It's that crucial of a tool now for tournament angling.
Just in how much you can learn and pick up. It's it's everything. I mean, I've never shot. The only time that I can say is when my live didn't work, say like at Tar River, and I ended up winning that tournament cranking.
Because you saw that fucking
Yeah.
rock pile on side scan.
Yeah, it was. It's like one random stick up log threw over there with a OG Slim, caught one. And just, I mean, you just get locked in once you pick up on it. But and it was just a perfect day. And I've won a couple tournaments without it. But learning fish behavior and that offshore stuff has been crucial. That you wouldn't be near as efficient, or B, it would just take so much longer to learn it without it.
When do you decide to turn that, not necessarily turn it off, but to be like, fuck man, this shit just ain't working? What do you have you made that decision, and what is driven besides it not working? But have you been in a situation like, shit, I just can't do it, let me go up on the bank and throw a spinnerbait or a jig or something? What makes you say fuck it and let me go fish?
Gaston was that way a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So we had some rain. Well, actually, we had a hurricane.
We had a little bit of rain. It was cold.
We got like 12 inches of rain in that sumbitch. It wasn't it was
a
frog hauler.
So thankfully bugs can hold back a bunch of water, but that kind of saved me there. But everybody was probably chasing more the cleaner water. I went towards the dirty water, and the previous week I'd kind of learned something up shallow as well. Completely just going polar opposite, and that's what I normally do. If clear water ain't working, I'll go to the muddiest water and just go to the opposite. Not necessarily the muddiest, but you know what I'm saying, something different. And Gaston, that was like the biggest change for me in terms of how I just turned live off, basically fishing these little channels that connected from different, not necessarily creek channels, but connector channels to another body on the other side of like islands and stuff like that. And the bait was coming out of there with the current. And so bass were just sitting there, just coming up and ambushing them in 2-3 foot of water.
Why'd you turn it off? Like, did you physically like turn it off? Were you worried about the emissions below the water, or you just didn't want the distraction?
Hey, keep this in the back pocket, because Will,
Shut up,
Paul. Hold on, no. This is gonna make sense. Will, answer his question, but I also want to talk about what you see when you put it on fish and then take it off the fish, that type of thing too. But answer his question first.
Okay. It's not necessarily maybe a turning it off, but at some point you get so shallow that it's useless.
Okay.
Like,
so you're not actually you're not powering down the unit. You're just not looking at it, kind of deal.
No. Yeah, I'm just not really looking at it, or I might leave it up. I mean, there's times where you're going through 2 foot of water and these little stump fields. I'll use it and change, the range way in and really shallow, so that I'm not center punching a stump at 4 or 5 mile an hour.
Right.
Because that's not going to be productive.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But yeah, no, just sometimes turning it off and just going back to basics is the best thing for you, instead of, and I learned early on, you'd be sitting there fishing and you see the fish, you got 4 fish, you need a 5th, you got 2 hours to go. And you do that for 2 hours, it's kind of demoralizing. And at that point, I would rather just not even have it on, to know that instead of knowing that there was like 6 fish that followed that lure but never bit, just saying, no, I never had a chance, or I just didn't get bit.
Exactly. And I think that's important. I think that's, but again, go back to it. You're taking the information that you have, and then you can turn it off, because you already know what's out there. You already know what you have to do. It's shallow. Like, you already know what you got to do. And exactly, you don't need to see it. So as Paul was saying, have you seen any effect of forward facing on fish, like emissions wise?
I think catfish and carp do sense it and do not like it. And I think that has to do with their whiskers.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, no scientific back, because there's a lot of times where there's been catfish up near the surface, and say you pan over there, you pan on them, I've seen them dive as far as 20 foot down.
How do you know they're catfish?
Just learning signatures. A lot of times, like,
seen them enough. Okay.
A lot of times bigger bass don't. So like, you got back to them, that little last part of the meat part of the tail, it goes away. Like when they're swimming, that little meat. So and catfish, they stay solid.
Ah,
Just what I feel like I've picked up on.
that's interesting.
And carp, they're massive anyway.
Yeah.
Especially at Harris.
Fuck carp at Harris.
You ain't lying. Little things like that. Bass, I think, do pick up on it, but I don't think they pick up on it near as much as carp and catfish. And crappie don't pick up on it at all because crappie are stupid.
Look,
crappie are the stupidest fucking fish in the world.
Shut up, Alex. You know how we know crappie are the stupidest fish out there? Because when Alex goes fishing, he can't catch bass. He goes out there and wears the crappie out like nobody's business.
Fucking put a hurting. They are the stupidest fucking fish. And my favorite.
He puts on some kind of mule bait.
Yeah, I'll fish the mule. Yep. But honestly,
on a freeloader, you will catch some big crappie.
I don't give a fuck whether they're big or not. What I do is I buy those shitty Mr. Crappie little fucking curly tails, and
From Walmart.
chuck that bitch out there, have a smoke, jig it up 3 times, and then reel in 1.5 pounds crappie. That's how it works where I'm at. It's super awesome. It's like the best thing ever. I got my almost potential viral moment. Nobody gave a shit because it was crappie. Remember when I doubled up in a video, like I caught a crappie. And as I was unhooking it, I throw the bait overboard with the jig head, small jig head, and I'm trying to show off the crappie to the camera, and all of a sudden the rod goes wonk, and it dropped down again, and I lifted up another one.
Bo, if you would have done a double Fish Wizard release,
oh no shit, right? Yeah.
I mean, come on, we got 50 million views on the one. If you would have done a double with crappie, we could have got 100 million.
Total side note, and we're not trying to derail a ton of this episode, but side note, I don't understand how people so before I'd be like, creators, you always have time to answer every single comment on your video. Okay. I totally understand when you don't, because I'm still getting fucking comments from that fucking fish video, Wizard. Because on TikTok
5 months ago.
No, it was 2 months ago, but but Paul's right. It's at 51 million views on just TikTok, and I'm constantly getting
Instagram. Instagram has the most views.
No, it's up there on TikTok now too. It had another surge, and so I'm constantly getting at least 30 comments a day.
What flavor surge was it?
It was
green
blood
apple
orange.
To be
blood orange. Blood orange.
That's the worst. Actually, blueberry's the worst. Actually, no.
Ugh.
Lime's the worst, then blueberry,
There's no blueberry.
then blood
There's
orange.
no blueberry.
Yeah, there's some kind of fucking blueberry.
Blackberry.
That shit is nasty.
Blackberry.
Yeah, that bitch fucking sucks. Hey, speaking of content creation, we've got a guy that catches 100-inch bags, and he puts out a little bit of content out there now and again. But Will, why aren't we putting out full length YouTube videos? Why aren't we putting out more content? You've got content out there, but why are you not embracing free money on social media?
You are that close to being
media.
You are that close to being the ginger Greg Blanchard.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I hate making Facebook posts, much less, and you're talking about replying to comments. I mean, it's just I like
them comments. If you put shit out there, just put it out there. But I mean, look at the shit that you catch, and you were single, no kids, no wife. You got a good, easy job.
All those trophies.
That's why I ain't got no trophies, because I got kids and a wife. That's my excuse. Why are we not putting out more content there, Will?
Lazy, I guess. Just
hold on. Time out, Paul. I'll defend him, and I never defend tournament anglers when it comes to content creation. He's not making content because he's on the water learning how to win fucking tournaments instead of doing stupid Fish Wizard videos. So I think he might actually have the right. I mean, if you find time, you should do content, but maybe you should just keep catching 100-pound bags too, or 100-inch bags.
This dude could be making $100,000 a year between his winnings on 2 local trails, plus plus some social media, but he's not doing it. He does. He's on YouTube, or not? I'm sorry, YouTube, Instagram, and he does make his post-tournament Facebook posts on both of those. He is at least smart enough to tie those together.
Reaching all the grandmas on Facebook.
All the meemaws.
Yep.
But man, I mean, having
Maybe that's a market.
the fish you
Hold on.
catch,
Maybe
would
that's a
be
market.
magical.
Do you think all the old ladies are like, look at this young boy. Look at him catch all them fish.
He
I'm gonna
reminds
send him
me of
over
my
to-
3-year-old grandson. There's no way he's 28. The little short man, he can't even stand up in his kayak. He's shorter than the seat. That poor fella.
I got a booster seat in my kayak.
That's okay. Alex has a booster seat for this podcast.
One, I don't have a booster seat for either. I use phone books. I'm the only person in North America that still uses them. Hey, why we're being a little silly, I realize, Paul, we left out a feature of the show for like the last month. And I don't know how we forgot it. We've got Will here. He's had like 3 dad pops. So, Will, we're going to play Marry, Fuck, Kill. You know the rules?
Oh, yeah. Figured that was coming.
Sweet. Bigfoot, Loch Ness,
That's what she
or aliens. And you've got to marry one, fornicate with the other, and kill the last one.
We'll say kill Loch Ness
Most
because it's in the
dangerous.
water,
Cool,
and that's
Loch
where I'm
Ness.
going to spend
Wrong
most
one,
of the time
buddy.
on.
Ah, shit.
Oh,
wrong
Lord.
one.
That's a terrible image. I guess. Oh, God.
Dude, he's ready for it, and he's still got.
I know. He
Maybe-
listens to the podcast and he still can't answer it the way he's supposed to.
Marry, or maybe, I guess, fuck Bigfoot.
Okay, that's the right one. That's what you're sleeping
That's
with.
garbage. And then I guess marry the alien because, oh God, I don't know.
Beard to beard.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like, hey, Will, did you know we have these silly little pictures, or was that a surprise for you?
The last time that I'd actually watched it on YouTube, it was some little like gremlin or something. I don't remember what the
Yeah.
image was, but it wasn't that.
Solid. All right. But Paul, I realized like we haven't done that in like a month, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah. Hey, this is the thing about brass and brews.
Brass
Jeez, I
and
can't even
brews.
talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
Have some
Hey,
more White Claw.
the old school Carolina rig. We're using brass.
Brass
None of this
and
tungsten
brews.
bullshit. We ain't rich. I have lost a fuck ton of shit. Anyway. Hey, one of the things I want to go back to too, Will, is the Clash of Titans, which is the Tournament of Champions last year for CCKF.
Another great
You
name.
threw an inch and a half. I'm an inch and a half. Goddamn. An ounce and a half spinnerbait in stumps.
Oh shit.
Listen, Alex.
Yeah.
This man was on a stump pile that is very well known at Lake Wheeler. Matter of fact, it's more well known now. His ass blew it up. But he caught 100
Bomb
inches
burn.
at it pretty much 2 weeks in a row. But what made you throw a ounce and a half fucking spinnerbait in a trash pile full of brush and laydowns and shit? Like what the fuck makes you think to do some stupid shit like that?
Well, Wheeler's fish are typically pretty aggressive. They're about like Macintosh and
They got big
a
shoulders.
couple other legs, including Jordan. And they got bigger shad in them too. And it's actually 1.25 ounces, but that doesn't matter. But it has like
Semantics.
one big.
This is my podcast show. Do not correct me when I'm a quarter ounce off.
I love it. I love it.
You will. Damn, what's the problem? I
Hey,
invited
if a quarter
you on
if a
tonight.
quarter inch matters, then a quarter ounce matters, right?
That's
So,
the difference
yeah,
between getting pregnant, not getting pregnant in some people's lives.
Sure. It's kind of like basically it's like an A rig. It's like an oversized A rig the way it is because it's a BA spinnerbait.
Then why didn't you throw
it's
an
one
A-rig?
something different? I mean, have you ever seen one of those before? But how many bass have seen A rigs? I mean, bass have seen Kitex. It's just something totally off the wall different compared to a lot of other lures.
Why do
and I
you
think
have an
that's-
inch and why do you have a ounce and a quarter spinnerbait?
I originally
Why do you
got
even
it
have
for
that?
ledge fishing,
Okay.
being
okay.
able to fish ledges and slow roll
We ain't got
down
no
around
fucking
ledges.
ledges around here besides Falls Lake.
We got old pond dams.
Okay.
That's one
Fair,
of them. Like at
fair.
Randoman, that's a little tip for you.
Everybody's gonna write that down right now.
Well,
Everybody, we're
him
gonna
and I
take
are
a minute
fishing,
here.
Him and
write
I
it
are
down.
fishing Randoman next weekend. I'm seriously going to go fish behind him and just catch all the 18 inchers when he catches all the 21s.
That's
wanna
where he
catch the
caught
18s and finish second.
104.25 inches. Was that randomly?
Yeah.
that
that
day
lake
was one of
fucking
the
sucks.
that was one of the best days I had. I think I had 7 bites total. And there was
Jesus.
one at the end of the day that I lost that would have put me on up
Even
there.
higher?
I lost actually 2. I broke off one, and then I lost another one towards the end of the day that was on a random singular stump that it's literally just a flat or just nothing for 200 yards around it, and there's one singular stump, and I ran straight to that stump with an hour left, and there happened to be one on it, but I lost it.
See,
So.
this fool over here got 7 bites with almost
Yeah.
105 fucking inches off of 7 bites. It wasn't like he was wearing their ass out.
Hey,
No,
That's
most of the time
so-
when I do good, I don't. I typically don't
Yes.
wear them out. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, even
that's
like at
same here.
Wheeler when I had 103 or whatever it was, halfway through that tournament, I had been fishing towards the dam, and I had 2 bites, and I'd lost the biggest one that I'd
You
had
didn't
that
even
day.
catch those fish until the last couple hours because the sun came out, and that's when you said, "Damn, I need to run to my brush pile because the sun was out." That's what you were
Yep.
waiting on. I remember you saying that.
Last 3 hours, and the same thing with it, Mac. I didn't end up winning that tournament, but excuse me, last 2 hours, you know, that sun popped out, and I knew that they were going to go to wood.
Hey, just to be
so I went
clear, Will's big on semantics. It was only 101 inches at Wheeler. It wasn't
sorry.
103. Just to be clear. Hey, so the tournaments that you run, do they have an issue with one person and 2 kayaks?
Not that I know of.
Because you have to tow another kayak to just handle the balls that you have at this point, where you are just fucking putting.
Well, that's why I have a
hammer down.
Titan and not like an Old Town or a
Exactly.
Hobie.
Oh,
So-
Yeah,
shit.
no, well,
Damn,
all
he's-
right, well,
damn,
you didn't have to
both
make
of
fun
us.
of both of us.
God
Jesus,
almighty.
like I was on your side. I said you had a big wiener, and then you got to fucking hit me with it. All right, I get it. All right, cool. All right,
Hey, tell me this.
we're gonna talk about crocheting
ahead.
the rest of the fucking episode now because Will's a big meanie.
Look, Will's over here giving both of us the business on our own podcast.
I know,
It's been a
I
while
know.
since we've had that. It might have been like a Drunkwood episode before we both got our asses handed to us.
Yeah,
on
but the
this
difference is
podcast.
drunk word has a soul. Will is a ginger, so it hurts even more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it shouldn't
like
hurt
how
you as
before-
bad because you know I'm not consciously doing it. If I don't have a soul.
What's funny is we have very few rules on the show, but making fun of gingers is not one of those like things you can't do.
Hey, Will, let's talk about what you do because you kind of got a fairly interesting story into what you do and how you got there. So tell us about that real quick.
What do you mean?
He catches
Like what I
fish.
do
What
for
the
a
fuck are you
living?
talking
Oh
about?
my
Or
god, dude! You went to NASCAR school.
No,
Oh,
no.
Matt.
I went to graduated high school, went 2
No,
months to
say you
Randolph
went to
Beach College.
NASCAR school. Lie. Because what you do
I
now is
don't.
kind of interesting.
I
You know what? Time out. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I was trying to do a segue for Will to talk about what he does
Yeah.
and it being very cool and the history of what he does being very cool, and he completely fucked it up. So whatever
No.
he says from here
You
on
did.
out is boring as hell, and it's because of him. So anyway, go
Exactly.
ahead, Will. Go and tell us what
no,
boring shit you do
for-
now.
I build Ford 9-inch rear gears for NASCAR teams.
Oh, that's fucking cool
So
as
I've been
shit.
doing that for 10 years now. Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's very
it's,
cool.
it's fun. I mean, it's
Did you
right up my
join-
alley. It's what I like to do.
Did you join a frat when you went to NASCAR school? Was it like Omega
Psi Pi OSP.
Gordon? Was it like were you
Right,
an
it was
Alpha?
Raise Hell,
I
Praise
can't think of it. Bush.
Raise-
Yeah,
Yes,
there it is.
he was in
Hell.
the Raise
Turn
Hell,
left.
Praise that the RH, the Raise Hell, Praise that RHPD. He was in the
Well,
RHPD frat.
Have you ever seen the what's that TV show? Cartman.
South
damn it,
Park.
what's that?
Yeah.
Yes, South Park. Thank you. The NASCAR episode where he's like,
Yes.
becoming a NASCAR driver, and he's like, "We're going to drive hard, we're going to drive fast, we're going to turn to the left."
That's it. That's
exactly.
the meaning of
Dip in
life right
Vagisil
there.
extra strength.
Hey, that's the new sponsor we need to go after. Alex's Vagisil. That
Listen,
reminds
if
me of that.
Astroglide isn't going to work out, we're going to go with Vagisil.
If Astroglide can't get their shit together and sponsor this podcast, we're going Vagisil. And our tagline needs to be for me, myself, and Irene, where smells like sourdough here or something bullshit like that. One of the greatest movies.
No,
ever.
he said, does somebody have a little cheese on their taco?
Yeah. That was such a good ass movie. That's probably one of the best Jim Carrey movies ever. Is Me, Myself, and Irene. And I made a TikTok and every other social media post. And one of my favorite quotes out of that was, "She's gonna be eating blubber, all right, just as soon as I free Willie." And it was the little midget that was like, I mean, Alex and Will together were still shorter than he was.
With me and Will on the show, you can't say that word. Thank you very much.
Will and I. Or Will and me. Will
vertically
and me on the show.
challenged is the fucking word. Hey, I want to go back to these trophies real quick. So Paul's got a green third place, right? So you said your little baby ginger one is a third place. Are the green ones behind you? Are those all third as well?
No, so that one's third, second, first. That one's Tournament of Champions winner. Another first, second, third.
Hey,
that's
so
not
whatever
even. He didn't even get trophies for fucking 3/4 of the tournaments that he's won. There's not even those trophies or checks aren't even back there. Like if he had the shit for that, it wouldn't fit on his wall.
I just wish the trails would have some consistency because a couple of those greens are first. I could see it. And then Paul is trying to do some stolen valor where he can be like, listen, this green one behind me is a first place. You just can't see it. But look at Will. He's got first place green ones. I got first place green one. Right,
but it's not about the color. It's about like me and you. You know, we're short, but those trophies are taller than his green one. So
you're 100%
right.
What
it's about.
Look, when Will wins his first place trophies for CKA, somebody has to hold him up so he's taller than the trophy.
Will, when you win that trophy, who's the man that's going to lift you like Simba in The Lion King to hold you in front of everybody else to present it? Who's that man that's going to lift you up, or woman?
We need names. That's a great question. Alex, you were on your A game tonight, buddy. I'm proud of you.
I think I might have to stop drinking bourbon on the show.
You may have to call up like Mark Henry.
Okay.
No. Okay. But
none of the kayak guys are picking my ass up.
We need somebody. We need somebody that is true. Somebody that is there.
I mean, Mark Henry's a real person, but
he is. But he ain't fishing no kayak tournaments in goddamn Raleigh, North Carolina.
I guess maybe I can get my buddies Brooks and Clay and Sammy to do it. If
just
they're
one
there.
of them.
All three.
Goddamn.
Nope.
One of them. I guess
it's fine.
Hell, I guess I'll try to get Paul.
No, Paul's ain't gonna do anything.
I could. Drew Blair could definitely. He could hold you up. You know what? Next tournament. If I do well enough to stay for weigh-in, I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna lift this some bitch up.
Yeah, get it recorded.
I'm gonna hold him up for his winning bag. Randleman next week. I'm holding Will Lambert up, and I'm gonna squeeze a fart out of him too. So we're gonna have to videotape it so we can hear the poop come out.
Will, do you have a similar name to somebody else who's pretty famous in kayak fishing? Does that ever come up at all?
No.
Okay, just wondering. Like
Ryan.
Nobody. Ryan, Ryan Lambert.
Yeah.
No.
Not much. No.
Because Ryan
Lambert.
Lambert.
I guess if I was in Tennessee, maybe.
Yeah.
Ryan Lambert's 6'1.5" and not a day walker, so it's pretty easy not to confuse those two.
He keeps calling you a day walker, and the only thing I can now are like true Bass and Bruce. The only thing I can think of is how awesome in Blade that first scene when they have that underground rave. Do you know what I'm talking about? Big inches or no?
No,
Will's
never seen
only
the
like
movie.
24 years old, so he might not know.
You said he's
Blade
28. So there's you should check it out. It's called Blade. It's got Wesley Snipes. It's about a vampire who they call a day walker because he can walk in the day. But the opening scene, it's like this underground rave, and then all of a sudden the sprinklers get let off, and there's blood coming down, and then all these like vampires start biting the shit out of like ravers. But me in high school, I was like, God, I'm so fucking edgy because this is so cool. Like, it was like the coolest, most alternative thing ever. It was amazing.
Hey, speaking of Blade,
Yes.
if you had one rod, one reel, and one lure on tournament day,
why is it a Blade?
That's all you had. What are you taking and why?
I'm gonna take my JV Customs King Snake 7.6 and a shaky head.
What reel?
Is that a spinning reel? Or
yeah,
no,
what reel?
Shimano Tranks.
And a Tranks on a shaky head. How big's
but
a shaky head? Are you throwing like an 8-ounce shaky head? Like, what are you throwing on that shaky?
Anywhere from a quarter to a half. Most of the time,
you gotta pick one. Gotta pick one, motherfucker. Listen to the question. 3/8.
Okay, 3/8.
And what do you put? You got one lure to put on that shaky head, one bag all day long. What is it?
Junebug T-Mac worm.
Okay. How big? You going big worm? You going little worm?
7 inches.
Okay,
big worm.
So
big
little bit of but so that's.
Oh no, I mean that's
that
little
big worm.
For a shaky
That's
head.
a big,
yeah, no.
Bitch, that's big. I mean, most people are throwing regular old 6-inch worms on a shaky head. 7-8 inch. That's fairly a big worm.
Yeah, that or
hey,
I mean that's people ask me, they're like, well, you can't throw but one rod at a time. I get that from guys that don't really fish as much, but
right.
I mean, there's times where I'll have 3 shaky heads tied on. One's a half ounce with a mag worm, and then the other one's a June bug, and the other one's with a curly tail at the end.
I mean, it's the whole golfing analogy, right? Yep. Like when you go out golfing, are you just going with a putter? Well, why not? They all do the same thing. Just go out with a putter or a driver. That's what I always tell those dipshits who golf. I fucking hate golf, and all golf courses should be turned into children's fishing ponds for the community. I think that would be better and well served other than this stupid game of golf. But anyways. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I gotta go ahead. I thought you were running this shit right now.
No, you're running it. You specifically told me prior.
Okay.
I know. I've used it all up. No. I've used it all up. I'm just.
Hey, this is at least the 5th episode you've worn that Billy's hat. Can you change it up a little bit? You've got.
They're doing great.
Hats.
You've already yelled at me.
Change
I know.
it up.
Well, all right. Hold on. So I have to. Okay. I don't know if anybody else does this. I have a bad habit about not washing hats. Will, do you wash your hats like in the washer or in the sink?
No. Anytime I've ever done that, I've curled them up and destroyed them.
Right. Yeah. So what do you do when a hat gets so fucking gross? Like you just throw that thing away?
It typically goes into a box and never sees the light of day again.
All right. So
you're a hoarder. You're a hoarder.
That's a stinky box, too. That's a stinky box. But I'm with you.
No, it's either that or it gets thrown away. Most of the time, it's just like thrown into a box, into a corner, and it never sees the light of day.
That's the answer of a single man. My stinky
100%.
Go into a box, into my closet.
That's kind of like, why do you not buy, like, you always wear this certain clothing? It's because the shit's comfortable. It's not about it's fashionable 100%. Or anything else.
All right, so here's the sad thing that happened. Paul sent me probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, the Y'all Look Gray hat, right? And so I took that thing to Boston, and I was repping it in Boston. I was in Boston for a week and a half, and I wore that thing every day. And it was 90 degrees, and I was walking about 10 to 15 miles a day. That thing is one that had no breathability because it was a cloth hat, right? There was none of the It is so fucking gross now. I cannot wear that thing. It smells. And
hot water, Dawn dish soap, scrub it real good, and then let it dry. But just know you're probably gonna have to you're gonna have to use a couple. You're gonna have to use you either get a haircut or you're gonna have to use a couple extra notches on the
I don't
One
know,
thing,
man. I might just hang it behind me because I'm telling you, Amanda saw
Retire it.
this thing. Listen, Amanda
Yeah.
saw it because I have a retirement section in our closet, right? We have like a walk-in closet. 3/4 is hers, of course, and 1/4, or 1/4 is mine. And man, that math tripped me up. But anyways, and so I was like, let me just put this in the retired hat section. And she was walking in there and she goes, "What the fuck smells like ball sack?"
Smell like wet socks.
And she walks over and she goes, well, what's funny, she goes, "I think this thing is still sweaty. Like it's sweating the sweat that you put in it." So it is literally in a box right over there. Oh, we lost Paul. This fat ass knocked his camera
Fat
off like
bitch
a
is gone.
dipshit. Fat bitch is gone. Will, I'm glad you noticed. He hasn't noticed all episode that it said fat bitch.
He's very oblivious.
I think so. But yeah, it's a sad day that the y'all hat, the y'all look hat, I think is retired on my end. Sad.
I told him as long as his has Carolina blue in it, I'm not wearing that hat.
It didn't
This
have.
is y'all
Oh, the background on
The
it does
newer
have
one,
Carolina.
yeah.
Oh wait,
Well,
I
and-
don't have the newer one. I have the old one, the gray one with the white rope, and then the y'all look with the blue background. So
Yeah. And one of the things that you're talking about, the hats and stuff, one
Yeah.
thing my grandma used to do is wash them and then take an old pot from like the stove or whatever
Yeah.
and set it on top of it to help keep its shape.
keep it shaped. See, that's my thing. I run through them. I like. I have a ton of Hookset Hoodlum hats that I all had to retire. And those are some of the best hats, the ones that say like underwater robberies. Like that is such a good idea. It's amazing, but they've all gone through the ringer. They're thrashed. Those ones are still good. Actually, I
I
gotta
love
find
this
that
one. I haven't used it. I haven't.
Hey, your mic is not
morning
plugged
enough.
in, just so you know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're hearing you off your. I can already tell it's off your laptop, which is fine.
Hold on.
Fat bitch.
Professional podcaster.
Yeah, no shit. You're the co-host of an internationally famous podcast.
Check. Everything should be good now.
Nope. It's not the good mic. I'll tell you that much. Like Will sounds better. That's how bad it sounds.
Shout out AirPods.
Hey, quit out. All right. So you're gonna go with the shaky head. We covered that. But why the shaky head? Just the versatility of it that you can throw it anywhere.
Versatility. Yeah, I mean, pretty much post spawn.
When
that's
are
a
you
big
not
player for
throwing?
me.
How about this? When are you not throwing a shaky head?
Towards the winter time. I mean, pretty much like once the fall bite ends, then I kind of go away from it until pretty much either during the spawn or post spawn when they're starting to really feed back up. Because most of the time, like guys are throwing it on spinning rods with 10-pound line and blah blah blah. I'm not. I'm throwing. It might be a quarter ounce, it might be a half ounce, but it's typically on 15 or 17 pound Invisex. And that's pretty much locked in my hand till, like I said, the fall bite happens again.
How about this? When do you ever pick up a spinning rod? Do you ever pick one up?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
wacky worm,
For what?
freeloader, or jig head minnow, whatever stroller, or whatever you want to call it.
Wait,
typically
what's
a
that
spy
bait?
bait.
Hold on. What's that bait? The
A jig head
freeloader?
minnow, a freeloader. The thing that like Jacob Wheeler and DC have won like $1 million off of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Check,
Okay.
Is this better? If this ain't better, it's what the fuck we got. I ain't fucking with it.
It's what
no
we
more.
got. It's what we got. Your lights aren't even on your mic, so.
Check. What the fuck?
It's because your fat bitch ass fucking turned all your shit off. All right, so you're fishing that. You said a wacky. What else are you fishing on spinner?
I'll throw a spy bait every once in a while.
Oh, spy bait. Okay.
Which is
Using
more
that
of a
for
clear water thing.
spots?
Yeah, that and like a 2.8 Kayak on jig head. I use that a lot during the winter. That was actually, I was keeping track of like all my 20 plus inch fish that I've caught this year, which I'm up to 70 now, I think.
Jesus.
And the first one was actually
in North Carolina, y'all.
I met Paul out at Harris, and it's January 1. It's like 40 something degrees. This dude's got freaking sandals on, like an idiot.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I like colder weather. I'm fat. I don't like hot weather. I've never liked it since I
This
played
dude has
baseball.
lost like 60 pounds, y'all. So he
Ugh.
used to be fat. So he would have been
Oh,
out there with me. He used to be fat. He's not fat anymore.
No, I'm
We didn't
still
even
still
talk about
still
that.
fat. But
No,
Yeah,
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 I've
but
lost.
he
you're
actually did a
chubby.
weight loss jersey
I mean,
or
like
journey. You have
being
not yet.
5'6" and like 290 isn't
Oh.
fat. That's just obese. So I had to do something
Bitch,
about that. So now I'm
you
like
were a bowling
5'6".
ball on a native.
And this is gonna stick probably me saying this, but like a guy at work, I've been at G-Force for 10 years, and my nickname for the longest time was Short Block. And it came from like a small block motor, but like the short block name. So that stuck forever. And that's what I started to actually put as my name, just to be funny. But
I like it. See,
yeah.
listen, don't be mad about that. You're like a Weeble Wobble. Somebody can
Oh,
take
no,
a shot at you, but you won't fall down.
The good thing growing up was that my friends were always 3 and 4 years older than me. It had great benefits, as in they could buy tobacco for me when I couldn't buy it, and alcohol when I couldn't. And they also talked a lot of shit. So you know, you gained, and being redheaded too, you gained a lot thicker skin very quick.
Well, you have to, because being a ginger is probably the most hated people. Not even in America, just in the world. I mean, in general, most people don't like you folk.
It's general, yeah, that's general consensus.
So go back to the damn January 1st where we were out there fishing. I've been out there all day. You showed up. We're over there talking, shooting the shit.
And I took a 2.8 kayak on a jig head and was throwing on this sort of a bluff bank, and was throwing it out there, reeling it, letting it sink.
It was a boulder rock bank.
Yeah.
And I had fished it for like the last 30 minutes, and this motherfucker rolls up, turns the live scope on, and does what?
Catches like a 20 and a half or 20 and a quarter, something like that. So yeah, first fish in 2024 was a 20+ incher. So
right beside me. That's
and I was fighting it, and then all of a sudden you heard it splash, and you looked over there and you were like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I was over there trying to vertical jig a blade bait through all that shit, and you say, "Oh, I saw a big rock, and I throw it over there." I mean, that is another thing about the forward-facing sonar is you didn't see the fish, because I asked you, like I started dialing in on your shit, and you didn't even see the fish. You said I saw a big old rock, and that's like, let me throw at that big old rock, and you throw it out there, and it was a different presentation. Obviously, that little kayak went down slower. It's probably a better presentation of a shad, which on Sharon Harris, shad is primary forage, and you're able to get it. I mean,
and it was only on like
a stuff.
1/8 ounce jig head. So I mean, you slower fall rate. It's wintertime. Fish. So this is another misconception that people have always thought about. Fish slow down in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
That's BS. Like they do to a certain extent. Naturally, everybody does. When it gets hot, we all slow down. We want to be in the AC. When it's cold, we want to be in the heat. So we're all slowing down to a certain extent, but they're still feeding up constantly, and still active. And with forward facing sonar, if they say deleted the technology, but then they came out with another one that somehow deleted the fish, I would pay the $1,500 hand over fist every time to have that same, to be able to be that accurate casting of what I do, like with structure and stuff.
All right, but let's take it back to that time frame. It was January. You, Drew, and I were fishing together, and Drew was catching fish. I was catching fish. You caught fish as well, but Drew and I were using 2D sonar there, and I don't know if you switched over or if you changed, but even then, the forward facing sonar, because the fish were stuck to the ground, like the fish we were catching had mud on their bellies, and I'm not sure that forward facing sonar was a part of you catching fish that day, because we're fishing too. We're looking for specific ways that the bait were set up. We couldn't necessarily see the fish on the bottom, but we're looking for bait set up. Were you using forward facing then, or did you switch over to 2D at that point?
I switched over to 2D and live on the same one because where you had that flat that came out where we were fishing, and y'all were to my left, where I was, there was a little bit of a curve. So the channel swung back towards the bank, and in that curve was some brush and stuff like that. And I ended up breaking off, I think, two blade baits in that area. But the 2 or 3 fish that I caught was in that little corner. and I was able to kind of stay a lot more consistent, dead on top of that, and still vertical jigging. So it wasn't like I was using it to cast out to them or anything like that. But I found that little bit of a curve and that structure on there because of live. Which, granted, I could have side scanned it too, but it was easy to stay lined up on it because of the little bit of wind we had and stuff like that.
But even with that though, Drew whooped our ass that day.
Oh yeah,
fishing.
Drew's good.
I mean, he whooped our ass that day fishing, and you had that. Obviously, I was fishing the same thing. I was side scanning in 2D, mostly 2D, but he still whooped our ass, and you had side scan on, and it didn't help. So I mean, there's that. Look, we took it back to 2D. Not side down, no down imaging, no side imaging. It was strictly 2D, and he's out there whooping our ass. And I don't even think he wasn't even doing this shit. He was just looking at it for the depth.
Yeah, he was just trying to stay in that part. Once you learn that depth range that they're in, at least at Harris, that you can typically kind of run that in certain areas, and that's what he was doing. And forward facing played absolutely no role basically in us or me catching fish that day either.
Hey Paul,
except for the one fucking fish you caught right beside me after I'd fished there for 30 minutes. Little asshole.
That's true.
Paul, quit touching the mic. It's not on, so you're just fucking faking it by.
I have no idea what's going on because when I talk into my mic, it's coming through the soundboard right, but my shit died. And so I have no idea what's going on. You know what?
Listen,
ever since I spilt that White Claw Surge on my computer, I've been having fucking problems. I don't know. Y'all just deal with it.
If you guys don't know about the White Claw Surge incident, that happened on an episode of Last Call with Alex and Paul.
Live.
Yes, it was an episode of Last Call with Alex and Paul, the Patreon exclusive. I'm going to plug it one more time. Go to patreon.com/bassandbrews. Give us the hookup. Dude, you don't have to mute it to open a beer. You're fine, unless you're farting.
I didn't know it was actually showing that.
Look, Alex, he texted me earlier and was like, hey, man, do I have to put all my drinks in a glass?
Oh, fuck
no.
I didn't know how that works.
know how it worked. I was like, no, dude, you don't have to put anything in a glass around here. It's Bass and Brews.
Oh, maybe he's watched it because I do, I have my mug full of bourbon, right? But that's just because I'm a degenerate and I need a giant coffee mug full of bourbon.
Well, he has his in a koozie, and I just want to make sure. But.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's because so we don't have to move as much, so it keeps everything cold, basically.
So you can also tell that Will didn't listen to earlier episodes where we used to shout out what we were drinking before I started having gout attacks and shit. Yeah. And I was actually drinking real drinks and not White Claw Surge every night and all that good stuff.
I remember, I should find it. I remember the episode you actually splurged. You said, I saw this at the gas station.
Yes.
And it had the most alcohols. I'm going to give it a shot. Yeah. I got to find that. All right, before we go way too far down memory lane, we are getting to the part of the show where the Brewskis, and Will, you're one of them, basically. Well, I mean, not a Patreon member. But anyways, no, the Brewskis are the most wonderful bunch of dirtbags I've ever met or talked to. They are so welcoming. Everybody's all about pumping each other up. It's great until we get to these questions. So before we get there, I want to give you a chance to shout out whoever you'd like to.
Shout out to 3 of my best friends, Clay Lanier, Brooks Lanier, I guess, and Sammy Wilson, and JB Custom Rods being the only little sponsor I've had.
Sweet.
So, Clay Lanier, Brooks Lanier. Well, I guess. Brooks, you ain't shit to Will Lambert. You better quit telling him your shallow water secrets because
no shit. Right?
He ain't about that life with you, buddy. Clay.
He told me to give him a shout out of he taught me everything, but since I stopped listening to him, somehow I've won 10 tournaments since then. So,
But you said, go ahead, Paul.
Which one of those two give you the most shit about catching fish with forward facing?
Probably it's a tie between Sammy and Brooks. A lot of Brooks.
Brooks ain't shit. See, there we go. Brooks, if you're listening to this episode, You better
You ain't
quit
shit,
sharing your
bitch.
shit with him because he said to hell with you.
Pretty much. I mean, we got our own little group. It's got, and I meant to shout it out earlier, which was the Beer Run Boys.
All right.
Nice.
And that's, we used to always fish, and then they, did things like go off and get married and have kids.
A bunch of
but-
losers.
I know, right?
Just like
So it kind
Alex
of left
and
me
I.
out to dry this year, but no, it's it's a good time.
They left
Especially
you
when we
out
all
to
get to
dry
fish
as
together.
you're collecting trophies on the mantle, and all they've got is, as somebody once told me, and this is going to be crude, but you're collecting trophies. All they're collecting is fuck trophies, and that's kids.
Exactly. 30 seconds of fun.
Yep. Hey, also, Will, you missed your biggest sponsor, but from what I heard, Paul sent it to me. I guess you guys had a following out, and that sponsor was Bumble. That's why he's single, because they're not sponsoring him, and he doesn't have a girlfriend or he's not married, so he can fish all the time. So if you want to be a bad fisherman, get into girls.
Yes, that's
Pretty
get
much.
married. Get married is
Get
gonna
married.
fuck up your fishing career
Yeah.
forever.
Lose all your time on the water, like I said earlier.
Exactly. Exactly.
Look, when we'll get into this real quick, Alex, and I'll let you get into the shotgun round. But when Will and I talk, he always references, "Well, I'm not married. I don't have kids." Every
Yeah.
time we talk, that's what comes up. I'm like, well, I still do a little bit extra fishing. I don't care about them kids all the time. I'm just kidding. I love my kids, little badasses.
Hold on.
Carter and I
Yes.
went out. Carter's in 4th grade this year, and him and I went. He wanted to go out and throw football twice today, and he
That's
was
awesome.
to the point that he was wore the fuck out. And this dude ain't never wore out to go
Heck
through
yeah, dude.
football. So
Oh,
that's a good time.
total side note, Paul. Actually, Will, you can be in on this too.
How much
So-
did they win tonight?
Hold on. I'm not going to talk about that. They won a good amount. They both actually won tonight. But
Wow.
in some developing news on the show, all right, so last fall and a little bit in the spring, I missed some time on the show due to soccer. My kids both do soccer, right? So this year
Football.
they're both in the. What's that? No, it's
Football.
not football. Well, here's the thing. I might have to learn that. So they weren't going to be able to do the league unless they had volunteers for coaches.
Oh my God.
Guess who is now going to be referred to as Coach Alex, because I just got done doing my fingerprints today, and I'm fucking coaching my kids in soccer.
Well, I hope y'all enjoy. I hope y'all enjoy having me as the host, and Alex
No.
either not showing up or showing up
It's the
late,
same.
because that's what's gonna.
No.
No, you say that now. That's what's gonna happen.
Hold on.
I
This is the
guarantee
best
it.
part is I can schedule games around what fit for me, because I'm the coach now. Right? But the first thing, so what happens is I had a couple dad pops. I was feeling good, and I got the email, and I kind of mentioned it out loud to my wife. And my kids go, "That'd be cool if you were the coach." So I sent a random email, lightly buzzed random email. And the guy's like, "Yep. I'll send you all the information." I was like, "Oh, fuck, dude. I haven't played soccer since I was 8, and I'm 40. And he goes, "Doesn't matter." And I was like, "Oh, shit. Well,
Yeah.
can we get their friends?" And he goes, "I don't care." So it's stocked full of all their friends on the team. It's amazing. I haven't figured out whether I'm going to wear like the European fancy suit to the games, or if I'm going to go full Ted Lasso and just be really encouraging. I
Hey,
haven't quite.
wear a golf shirt with a tie. And,
Yeah.
In
Oh.
the 1980s PE shorts. PE.
Oh,
coach
the high
shorts.
shorts. The high
yeah,
shorts
high
with.
Yeah.
I did today. I went to my local. I had to go to Marshall's for it. I did get my quintessential, absolutely needed white New Balance shoes.
With
And
the
they're
blue,
just-
the blue. Did you get
Yep.
the blue or the black end?
The blue, because
Nice.
that's the only right way to do it. And I bought a pack of because I am technically a millennial, so I wear like no-show socks all the time. But I did get
Well,
almost.
ankle
No, I
socks.
did not. I went the opposite. I got the calf high striped fucking
Awesome.
cruise socks. Yes. So and Amanda did get me a fanny pack, and the kids put in
Nice.
like a whistle.
Nice.
It's going to be the most ridiculous
Hey,
thing, but I'm
you
coaching
gotta
girls
make sure,
soccer.
You got to make sure you get a phone clip to be.
Yeah,
you gotta
clip
get
it
a
on the
phone
side.
clip. Yeah, clip it,
Dude,
Yep.
like total side note, it's gonna be a shit show, but I'm so excited. Like
It's
as growing up.
Third side note, so go ahead.
Yep. So growing up, none of my parents could do this, so I'm really excited to be able to coach my kids playing a sport. I think it's gonna be awesome. It's fun. You're right. We're done with the side notes. It is time for.
It's time.
Boys and girls, let's see how far down the rabbit hole we can go today. Woo! It only takes one.
All right.
Hey, who's the rabbit hole guy? Who is that?
I don't know. I can't remember. I did this like a year ago. I can't remember where I got the clips from. Yep. Hey, we're gonna get the patent pending Bass and Brews shotgun round. I'm gonna ask you a rapid fire set of questions. We're gonna need a yes or a no or just a simple answer. If we need to know more, we'll ask. But we need an answer. None of this bullshit where you go, oh well, I don't know. And I mean, if you need to, take a little bit of time, but not a lot of time. We understand this is important because this is either going to raise you to the highest levels to become a serious angler or the lowest lows to the dark waters. So, Will, are you ready for the shotgun round?
I'm ready.
Okay. I wish I would have pre-planned and just fucked up all the questions because you listened to the show and just done like brand new ones.
Yeah.
All right, man. Are you going to spend more on a rod or are you going to spend more on a reel?
Real.
He must fish casting gear. Solid. Wacky or Texas?
Oof. Wacky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna weight that wacky ever or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you should have
Depends on
thrown
the
a
depth.
flick shake.
Depends on the depth.
Okay.
Well, okay. You said yes. Are you weighting? Are you putting a pencil weight in the head, or are you throwing like a flick shake with the hook weighted?
Well, if I put it in the head, that would be Nico. But like
Excuse
the head
me, Nico,
being.
I'm sorry. Yep.
No, you're
Go
good.
ahead.
Still shit on
or,
you.
Fuck you. I will.
or
Shit.
just like a weighted Gamakatsu wacky worm hook.
Okay. All right. Solid. Are you fishing that on casting gear if you're gonna weight it down, or is that still on spinning?
It's spinning
Okay.
or casting. I do both with BFS
That's-
reels.
Yep. No,
The
BFS reels. Oh,
Ain't nobody
this
doing
fucking
that shit
guy.
on purpose.
No, ain't nobody doing that shit on purpose. Hey, is it Crocs or is it flops?
Crocs.
My man.
Yep. Look, he's a day walker.
Look, he's gonna pull them out.
He gotta
I can
get
already
them.
tell.
He gotta get them.
Hell yeah.
He
I
gotta
got
get
them
them
right here.
He gotta
Dude,
get them
if they're-
polka dot feet. He's gotta get them polka dot feet.
If there's one thing
As soon as I get in the kayak, I'm out. They come off. I'm barefooted all the time.
if there's
His
one
feet.
thing
He
that
also wears a
Ginger-
size 5 shoe.
Yeah.
Listen, gingers love Crocs. It doesn't matter whether they're fishing. You could walk up to the CEO of Lucky Charms, and that ginger has a fucking pair of Crocs
General
on, no
Mills.
matter what.
General
No,
Mills.
Shut up, Paul. You ruined it. Hey, when you're heading to the water, is it hype music or is it slow jams?
Hype music.
And what does that mean for you?
Anywhere from Lil Wayne to
Okay.
System of a Down to
Okay.
Mm.
rock music. Yeah.
Shit.
Never.
about
I mean, I
Brooks
love my
and
country. I love my country music, but not on tournament morning. No.
All right.
Are you listening to that on the way to the ramp, or are you not listening to anything? That's the other question, because I don't listen to shit. But if I had to answer the question, I'd answer it. But do you
Sure.
listen to shit on the way to the ramp?
Half the time. If Brooks and them are typically fishing, we talk in the morning
Fuck
before.
Brooks. You've already
before
said
getting-
Brooks. Clay.
Before-
If Clay's listening
if
to
Clay-
something, you're listening.
Yeah, exactly. So we're communicating back and forth, just trying to keep each other up and hyped and get there and talk shit mostly.
Yeah.
Because like even when we fish on the water, which we can't communicate in CKA, which is a stupid rule. CCKF we can at least. We're not helping each other. It's all about talking shit the whole time.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, at least you said a Brooks, but not a Brooks and Dunn. So we'll take that as a win. System of a Down.
Our boy
is an
Tyler
interesting
Warren,
run.
Brooks and Dunn is the best.
Oh, he's-
We've had some really good. The shotgun round has created a lot of good answers.
Raw.
Raw and
Here
then-
lately, it's been
obviously-
falling in reverse.
Falling in reverse is good. That's good. You know what oh shit, what's his you know who Alex the Terrible is?
Yeah, yep. He was on that song Ronald with him recently.
Yeah, so his band, I
McDonald?
think it's something Prevail. I can't remember, but holy shit, this
Slaughter
dude
to
sounds like
prevail.
there it is. Yeah, so he sounds like an alligator on meth. Where with his fucking growl is fucking crazy, and it's like my new obsession. Is this like ultra death metal? I love to listen to it while I work my at home corporate
God
job.
damn it.
What?
That
Nothing. I'm watching a fucking football game. We fumbled inside the fucking 15 yards.
All right, let's.
Fucking stupid ass play. Go ahead.
his growl is insane.
So
Yeah.
good, so good.
And that goes back to the whole, ginger soulless type music.
Yeah. No, totally fits, totally fits. But
So you're
System of a Down,
Edwin McCain
I'm-
fan.
Yeah.
okay. I'm System of a Down. With you being so young, I feel like a whole generation missed out on them. So it's good to see somebody younger still repping System of a Down. 'Cause
Yes.
they are.
Yes,
amazing.
they got a
Shut up,
penalty
Paul.
on them.
Shut up, Paul. Paul, stop.
Fumble.
I'm
We've had
32,
such a
good
so
one.
it's not too terribly young for them.
Oh, okay.
But-
Oh, you said 32?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said 28. 32, yeah. I mean, because in ginger years, that's like 51, I think, right? I can't
Something
remember
like
how
that,
the
yeah.
conversion works. Yeah. All right.
I think I did ginger conversion.
All right.
All right.
um,
Go ahead. All right, Will, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Pineapple's disgusting. No.
I don't trust you,
The
Ginger.
conversion rated ginger. You got to clip that, dude, and we got to remember that for the next person.
Do you eat largemouth bass?
No. I have, but I
Okay.
don't purposely. It's kind of like if I catch, I don't even really do this with largemouth, but I don't eat drum either, like red drum.
Mhm.
But if I was
Mitch, we didn't
to
ask about drum.
if I was to hook one, hold on. If it was my it's my target species when I go to the beach. So if
Yeah.
I foul hook one or mess one up, I'll keep
Yeah.
it then.
Sure.
But
How about smallmouth? I heard due to their feistiness and how much people are a cult for them, they taste the best.
no, I've never.
Mm.
I haven't
Look-
caught that many.
Look,
I
we
wish.
ain't caught no smallmouth around here. I'll tell you what. Hey, what you need to do, the next tournament that you think you're going to catch 100 inches on,
Yeah.
I need you
Eat
to
'em.
bring
Eat
a
'em.
stringer.
Eat 'em
And
all.
you're going to keep the 100 plus inch stringer. You and I are going to clean them and
Yeah.
fry them at the fucking boat ramp. And I'm going to videotape the whole thing. And you and I, even if we can't eat it all, we'll give it away because there'll be people there that'll take it. We're going to fry a 100-inch kayak stringer on tournament day at the boat ramp. Are you down for that?
Our laws probably say no.
Why? You
Oh.
can keep
We
5.
can't keep that many.
You can
Not that
keep
many over
5.
You have
There's
to
no
have
lot.
like a certain
they-
under 14 inches, right?
Nope. They even if they do, they ain't gonna come out there and check it. And once they fillet, they ain't gonna know.
Listen, I want you to.
Are
I want
no,
you.
We're
Hold on,
keeping a
Paul.
100-inch plus stringer, and we're deep frying it in the parking lot of the
Have
boat.
you guys?
If we're taking them out of Harris, that's fine.
Well, Harris did away with the slot limit, so we're good there.
That's
There
true.
you go. Hey, have you guys ever heard of the turducken?
Oh
Yes,
yeah, I've had
we
one.
have. It's stupid,
Yeah.
Perfect.
dumb.
So here's what I need you guys to do. I need you to eat a smallmouth that has a
Spot?
native
A spot?
No. Okay, a spot. That's fine. But no. I'm going to take that back, Paul. So I want a smallmouth,
Okay.
and then you shove a native brook trout in its fucking gut,
We
right?
ain't
And then-
catching no brook trout down here, buddy. That shit
Whatever
ain't
you
happening.
can get, and then I want another fish. I got to think of another pristine fish that people always release. I just want all those fish together.
Look, the only fish we're catching around here, luckily, and I hope
Mm.
it stays this way forever, are largemouth. We're not catching smallmouth around Raleigh. We're not catching. There might be some spots here or there. I don't know, but we're pretty much catching. Will's going to catch 100 plus inches of largemouth. We're going to flay them motherfuckers at the
I love
boat
it.
ramp and
I
deep
love it.
fry 'em.
I love it. At weigh-in, make sure it's at weigh-in, like with a ceremony where you
Yes.
get your trophy. You're just like, hold on a minute.
I'm frying in the background. I'm frying
Yeah.
the fish. Yes.
All right. Well, speak of eating, have you ever eaten beaver?
Yes.
How'd you prepare it?
Didn't have to.
Oh,
Damn.
what does that mean?
It's raw.
It was raw. It was raw. Okay, so we might have to
But no.
move that one.
Actually, the
We've got
animal beaver, no.
Look,
No.
we can't
ask
ask
the
this of
same
people who
questions.
listen to the
Yep,
show.
I know we can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off the same. Like
Yeah.
Will knew it was coming. Speaking of what's
Hey,
coming,
do you like your beaver furry or do you
Oh.
like it shaved?
Fake.
the animal. The animal? You want a shaved animal running around?
I mean, you
fucking
can
weird,
burn
man.
it off afterwards.
What?
That's true. It's kind of like a hog.
See, I can tell Will is from Siler City because he knows how to take the hair off a hog, which also means he knows how to take the hair off of.
Hey, so every great angler loves a sandwich. What are your top 3 sandwich proteins?
Ham, roast beef,
Perfect.
turkey.
Hey,
Like
do you
solid
eat?
safe.
All right, real quick. I know we're about done, but I'm
We are.
curious because I've been around you a lot. Do you actually eat on the water? Do you take food?
I do. I'll typically take some beef jerky.
Okay, so you're
some-
snacking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not
Hey,
taking like a whole meal.
Is that because it's tough to get the souls of small children into the kayak? Because I know that's normally what you fucking gingers eat. So is it just because it's tough for them to get in there? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is. Okay. All right, everybody. This has been Bass and Brews. Thank you. Go check out Will Lambert on Facebook. All you got to do is go to your grandma's page, and he's going to be he's going to be linked in the top 8 sexiest gingers. That's going to be the best way to find him. And then other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. And if you can't have a great week, at least have the week that you deserve. We'll see you later.
Is that about it?